Well, hello, everyone. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. We have a special webinar today, actually two of them. This is the first of two about Canadian business schools, the best Canadian business schools who offer MBA programs and other business programs, both graduate and in some cases undergrad. We want to talk about, what is it like to go to business school in Canada? Why Canada? And in our first panel, we're going to focus on the advantages. And in our second panel, which will occur after a 1 hour delay when this is finished, we're going to focus on the admissions practices of each school and what it takes to get in. Obviously, Canadian schools have been a really important element in this international look at business schools and have become increasingly popular. In part because of a very pro-immigration policy by the government, which makes the country incredibly hospitable for international applicants who want to not only use the MBA to switch careers, but switch geographies and create a new sort of life for themselves. And many international applicants who've gone to the Canadian schools have been very successful at that. So let me introduce each of our panelists first, and we'll go from there. Let me introduce first John Derek Clark. He's Executive Director of Master's Programs in Recruitment and Admissions at the Ivey Business School. Now, Ivey is at the University of Western Ontario in London, not all that far from Detroit, actually. Great school, well-renowned for its case study approach to teaching business. Just like Harvard and UVA Darden in the States and IESE in Barcelona, and has long had a terrific reputation in Canada and the world. We have Teresa Pyers, the Associate Director of Recruitment for the full-time MBA program at the Smith School of Business at Queen's University, and that's in Kingston, Ontario. Fantastic school as well. One of the interesting things about Queen's is they've had a long-standing, very successful executive MBA program partnership with Cornell University that some of you may be familiar with. We have Sean Meehan, the Recruitment and Communication Coordinator of Student Services at York School of Business. And York, of course, is in Toronto, fantastic metropolitan city. Really dynamic, vibrant place to study. Love Toronto, even in the wintertime, when it gets pretty cold up there. And we have Corey Hoare, the recruitment administrator at McGill University for the DeSautel's Faculty of Management. And they have the luxury of being located in one of the most beautiful places ever, Montreal. Anyone who's been to Montreal feels like they're in a European city. The architecture is amazing. I've had the benefit of being in Montreal a few times, and I've loved every time. So welcome, everybody. So let's start with the basics. What would you say are the three key reasons why prospects should consider your program and a Canadian MBA in general? Corey, why don't we start with you?
Sure. So good morning, everyone. One main reason why individuals enjoy choosing the McGill MBA is our small cohort size. It's about 65 to 85 students in general. We have a strong emphasis on sustainability throughout our core curriculum and the variety of experiential learning opportunities available to our students. Of course, when we think in the larger why you should choose Canada in general, of course, it is very advantageous. Aside from our high standard of living, our many natural wonders spread across country, we are an open society. And there's actually a quote from the mayor of Dawson City in the Yukon that I think would be applicable to all of my colleagues here today. And he said, Canadians are born all over the world. It just sometimes takes them a bit of time to get here. And I think that's a beautiful representation of what our country has to offer from coast to coast to coast. So thank you.
I like that. Yeah, I like that very much because the diversity in Canada is amazing. It's become a real magnet for people who want to lead a new and prosperous life. It's been remarkable, really, particularly in the last quarter century. Sean, make the case for York.
Yeah, absolutely. So to kind of pair it off of what Corey just said, Canada is a hugely multicultural environment, and I think Toronto is a great snapshot of that mosaic. And you'll see that in our student body as well. You'll see that in our faculty, with about 51% of our students coming from outside of Canada, and even 60% of our faculty coming from outside of Canada. So you'll see a bunch of different perspectives in the classroom. And, I think that ability to be challenged in the classroom with different perspectives, I think is really great, and creates a really strong business acumen overall. In terms of Toronto, you mentioned it yourself, John, that it's a huge, vibrant metropolitan city. It's one of the safest places in North America. We have the third largest stock exchange. We have all 5 of the main banks headquartered here. It's the second largest financial center in North America as well. So, there's going to be tons of room to grow professionally and both personally. So I think that's really great. And just to pair it onto it as well, Canada overall, it's a beautiful country, fantastic people, and I can't recommend living here enough.
I would agree. Teresa, what about Queens?
Thank you, John. Yeah, I would say that the Smith School of Business offers some unique aspects. A one-year MBA program starting in January, which is off cycle to most MBA programs, but we get you back out into the workforce quicker than any other MBA. We also have an amazing career outcome, #1 in Canada, with very solid employment statistics year over year, quite consistently. And lastly, I would say that we not only recruit for diversity, but we also have a very strong cohort of women, again, consistently year over year, over 35%, which is phenomenal. We're aiming for that parity. We've been close with 44% last year. And then in terms of Canada, I echo what my colleagues have already said. It is a thriving, welcoming environment for students, for prospective candidates from across the globe. We offer a stable, safe, peaceful environment. It is globally respected in the banking, energy, mining sectors, with growth in tech and entrepreneurship. A unicorn startup such as Clearco, from one of our alumni, actually is thriving, and obviously, when you're someone considering coming to Canada, you want to make sure that you see that return on your investment, and I can definitely guarantee that the Smith School of Business.
Absolutely. That's another point, actually, that's pretty universal. I think that MBA education in Canada tends to be significantly less expensive than one in the US. And John Derrick at Ivy.
Yeah, so first of all, John, thanks for the opportunity. So I'll touch on a few things. The first thing you mentioned, which is the case study approach to learning, which we're known for. And it's a very practical approach to learning. So not only do you get the knowledge, but you get the experience in the classroom of applying the knowledge right away. So in our program, people work on over about 300 business cases across industries. And so they're not only getting the frameworks and the concepts that you get in an MBA, but you're applying it right away. The second thing is our alumni network. And we're really well known for the power of our alumni network. And they support our students, they support one another. And that's really important for international students thinking of coming to Canada, and being plugged into that network right away, and developing that network as you launch your career in Canada, and even your life and career in Canada beyond your MBA studies. And then I'll touch on the why Canada part, and I think I echo a lot of the sentiments about the diversity. It's a very easy pathway for individuals coming in to transition to work after the MBA program, become permanent residency and citizenship. But I'll share a personal anecdote. Is I have 2 girls, one that's 10 and one that's 17. And one of the magics, I think, about them growing up in Canada is this ability that people can come to Canada and still practice their customs from their home countries. And so my kids have grown up with friends that, they celebrate Hanukkah, they celebrate Chinese New Year with their friends, they celebrate Ramadan. And I think that's a real magical part of Canada, is your ability to come here and settle here, but have that freedom and openness to still practice your customs and traditions and from your home country.
Really, really good point. I think, the embrace of other cultures and peoples in Canada is remarkable. And I've seen it firsthand in a number of places. And I have to say, I'm really amazed and impressed by it. Now, obviously, a lot of people who are watching this now and will watch it in the future are from far-flung parts all over the world. and they may not be all that familiar with the different locations in Canada. And I wonder if each of us can talk a little bit about, what are the highlights of your city? What is life like for students who go to your school? John, let's stay with you.
Yeah, sure. So you mentioned already we are 2 hours from Detroit. So another city that we're 2 hours from is Toronto. So we're actually right in the middle of Toronto and Detroit. We're located in London, Ontario, Canada. Our population is about 350,000 individuals. So we're about the 11th largest city in Canada. And we're very much a university town. And one of the things I like about London is that you get everything you can from a big city environment, but it's very much got a feeling of a small town. I think what's relevant to students that are coming here to study is all students come here to study. That is their main thing. We have very few students that are located in the London area that are actually studying here. So whether you're an international student or a student from Canada or wherever you're coming from around the world, everyone is coming here to study. And so there is a very tight cohort and a very tight community because everyone, not only are they learning with each other, but the social aspect. The students live very close together. They live close to campus. The faculty all live in this area. So you're getting very much and very quickly a very community feel because everyone is coming here to study. So it's sort of this element of lack of a better term, a bubble that people are in for this year. When they take our program, and that helps really solidify the strength of the community and the bonds that they have with their classmates.
That's great. Teresa, in Kingston, Ontario, what's it like?
Wonderful. Thank you, John. Yes, echo a lot of what John JD has said in regards to being a small town, getting that feel of community within Kingston. We're about 160,000 people, very centrally located between Toronto, Montreal, and our capital, Ottawa, easily accessible by train, 2 hours, 20 minutes to Toronto, 3.5 hours to Montreal, and about an hour and a half to Ottawa. We're also very close to the US border, 6 hours to New York, which is great for our students that are looking to cross border outside of a pandemic. The other amazing aspect of Kingston is that it is very dynamic, given that it is a small city. It's got great resources and amenities, very much a thriving university town. Everything is safe and walkable. Our students live within 5-10 minute walking distance to Goods Hall, which is the photo behind me here. We've also been ranked #1 for best quality of life by US News and World Report, as well as ranked #1 for women to live by Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives. So overall, I'm biased, born and raised in Kingston, did all 3 of my degrees at Queen's University, and absolutely love the city, and our students echo that year over year. Our alumni actually come back in the summer months when the weather, to your point, John, earlier, yes, it does get quite cold, but in the summer months, for most of the year, it's actually quite lovely. And we are on Lake Ontario, so it's a great sailing city as well. So quite a few of our alumni come back to summer in Kingston and surrounding area, very close to the Prince Edward County. So lots of great wine tours as well.
Fantastic. Now, Sean, we already mentioned a bit about Toronto, of course, but what's it like for a student in Toronto?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a fairly large city with about 3 million people, huge economy as well with $332 billion in the city. So tons of opportunities for you to network, tons of opportunities for postgraduate career growth. We have 2 campuses, one located in the heart of the downtown, in the heart of our financial sector. And then we have another campus up at Keele. And both are very conveniently located on our public transit line. So no matter if you're at the Keele campus or the downtown campus, each one is a stone's throw away from the other, maybe about 30 minutes by transit. So there's tons of opportunity if you live on campus, or if you live maybe off campus, you'll be able to commute to school relatively easily, and you'll be able to go downtown at your leisure. So there's tons of opportunities for you to, stay on campus and really mingle with the other students living on campus with you. But there's also that potential to go downtown to check out the different pockets of cultural diversity throughout the city. We have Little Italy, Little We have I think we have two Koreatowns actually. We have Chinatown, Old Chinatown as well. So there's tons of opportunities for you to come into the city, and there's also lots of opportunities for you to stay on campus and network with those many extracurricular groups, and even getting in touch with alumni through the mentorship programs that we offer as well.
And I believe you're only an hour flight away from New York City. Is that right?
I think about that, but Toronto as a whole is a great travel hub as well. We have Pearson Airport located just maybe about an hour from downtown, and there's an easy transit line to get from downtown to the airport as well. So it's a great opportunity for you to see the rest of Canada as well.
And Corey, make the case for Montreal.
I think for Montreal, the case speaks for itself, as was previously mentioned. We are a huge cultural and architectural hub located in the beautiful island of Montreal. We actually are an island located in the beautiful St. Lawrence Valley. Being a multilingual and multicultural city, we really are the fusion between North America and Europe. It's like living in the baby of Paris and New York together. We have everything you could want in Montreal. We've been voted as a top student city. We're home to 4 major universities. Similar to Sean, we are connected by a huge transportation network, and we span many distinct neighborhoods. Our campus is located in beautiful downtown Montreal in a historic district, and each university has its own community. So whether you're in the McGill community, Concordia, or any other university community, you have the opportunity to mix and mingle among your friends. Whether it's the middle of winter or the middle of summer, we do have a variety of different activities in terms of cultural events, food festivals, the Grand Prix. Our lovely Montreal Canadiens are on their last swings for the Stanley Cup Finals. So there's something for everyone in our city, not only a great university, but also when you want to detach from that busy MBA program, you're more than welcome to enjoy our beautiful cultural life around the city.
And if people out there don't know it, hockey is a serious sport in Canada. It's very passionately followed, like soccer or football for some in Europe. And it's a great, active, dynamic sport. And anyone who goes to Canada will be hooked by it, I'm sure. Let's talk a little bit about the current class profile for your program. We've gotten a little bits of this here and there already in our conversation. But let's talk more a little bit about, the terms of international makeup and diversity. And why don't we stay with you, Corey, and start with McGill.
Sure. So we're very proud of our international student body for our MBA program. It's about 70% of our students who come from around the world. And of course, with students coming from almost every continent, diversity relates to a lot of different factors. So not only do we look at country of origin, we also look at academic and professional background, because we want to have diversity in every sense of the word within our classroom dynamic. And of course, our admissions committee works very diligently to ensure that all of these factors are considered when extending offers, because we want to have a classroom discussion, especially since we're such a small cohort, that can really help people learn, where you're able to share your lived experiences and gain that knowledge from your colleagues. So overall, it's a very diverse class, we would say.
Right. Sean, how about it?
Yeah, just to echo the same kind of class sizes there. So, year over year, we have a fairly similar classroom makeup. About 40% of our students are going to be women, and that's largely fueled by foundations like the Forte Foundation, who provides scholarships and also provide some leadership events as well. Most recently, we actually just had the Women in Business networking event with some former MBA alumni. So that was a great event and a great opportunity. And, as I mentioned before, just over 50% of our students are international, representing around 30 or more different countries. And they all come to Toronto to relocate for the program. And then, as well, in terms of professional and academic background, only about 70% of our students are coming from, only about 30% of our students are coming from a business background, with 70% coming from other industries, other functional roles. So you are really going to have a mix of different perspectives in the classroom. And I think that's largely in part due to the different specializations we offer. We have 17 different specializations. So you're going to have lawyers coming to Schulich for the MBA JD joint degree program. You're going to have artists and directors coming to join us for the Arts, Media, and Entertainment Management program. So there's tons of diversity in the classroom in that regard as well.
And Teresa, you had earlier mentioned the gender split. What's the international makeup of the class, and from how many different countries?
Yeah, thank you. Along with Sean, we also partner. We were the first Canadian school to partner with Forte. So the women cohort is important to us year over year. And we recruit approximately 85, 90 students year over year. And amongst that cohort is approximately 40% international students. Really quite diverse in terms of not just geographical location, but also in terms of professional and academic profiles. We see candidates from, this year alone, 16 different nationalities: Albania, Australia, Brazil, Costa Rica, Russia, South Africa, just to name a few. So in terms of the lens of business, that's really the experience that we're looking for, to provide context, to provide collaboration, thoughts on how business is done from different cultures, from different countries. And that's really important to have in an MBA classroom because business is so global today. And so it's important that prospective candidates look at the makeup of the classes that they're looking, at the schools that they're looking to apply to. Check out our ambassador website, speak to current students, just a piece of advice in terms of what the school offers. And then also look at the different clubs. That'll really help to tell the story of the institution and where they're focused. We have a fantastic equity and diversity club, which is doing quite a lot of unique things. Even in the pandemic, all of our events are virtual at this time. So the Women in Leadership Club as well, in combination with the EDII Club, are really doing some unique events this year to engage with not just alumni, but thought leaders and experts in this space. So I think it's important to look at the culture of the institution alongside the profile.
Great. And John Derek, what's the class profile like at Ivy?
Yeah, so I'll start with our average class size. So we have two sections, but our average class size each year is around 150 to 155. Our most recent cohort that we took in March, so we're a one-year program like Queen, so we're a bit off cycle in when we start. So our most recent cohort in March, we had 39% female. And our international students, and we classify that, I'll classify that as students that are not citizens of Canada, is 43%. So extremely diverse, and we have 25 different citizenships represented. And the only other thing I'll add about the diversity, because it's really important for the case methodology as you get individuals coming in from different backgrounds, not only education, but about industry. And so we have 42 different industries represented in our classroom. And that's really important with the type of classroom environment a case methodology has, where it's very discussion-based, that people are able to share their experiences from the industry and the country that they came from.
I should just add a little context here for people who may not know, but in each of your cases, you have larger international cohorts than is typical for North American schools, particularly those in the US. So you're looking at an experience that's going to be more globally diverse as a result of that, obviously. And you're going to get greater insights into different cultures and different peoples and business practices around the world, for sure. Now, one of my favorite questions to ask when I visit a campus and sit down with MBA students is, tell me what the 3 highlights of the MBA program are for you. And I wonder if Ivy, and I sat down in a bar and had a drink with your students, what would they tell me, John Derek?
Yeah, first of all, they would talk about, and I think Teresa brought a great point, is the culture of a school. And I'd really encourage people, as you kind of look at, go around and you look at programs, look beyond what the curriculum is and talk to students and talk to alumni and get a sense of the culture and the fit there. And what our students talk about is that it's a very caring culture. It's a very supportive culture, students on students, alumni towards students, faculty amongst students. I mean, the students get to know the faculty on a first name basis. So there's a very personal element, and that community aspect is really important. The second thing that they would talk about is the support that they've received from alumni. And, the alumni network is really something that is got momentum. And, people remember going back years, if you come to our homecoming, and they talk about when they were students and supported about the alumni. And so there's this pay it forward or stickiness that's there with the alumni. And the third thing that they talk about is just the transformational experience that they've had. And it's not only about what they learn, it's about them as an individual and them as a professional, and the impact that it's had on them, not only personally, but on their career path as well. And so those would be the three things that they would say. And that matches not only what you would see in a bar, it's like when we survey alumni and students after the program, what they talk about as their highlights.
Super. And Teresa, if I were to sit down with your students, what would they tell me?
Well, I believe our students would echo the same, very similar sentiments in terms of the experience. The MBA is a small cohort, so they all get to know one another very, very well, and not just amongst themselves, but also through the faculty relationships. So year over year, I hear alumni come back and say, you know, I connected with so and so, you know, a faculty member. They remembered me. They were willing to chat with me. Similarly, you know, the friendships that come out of this MBA program are lifelong. So I would say that collaboration is really something that stays with our students year over year. Second would be the team-based nature of our program. We don't just put students into groups. We really do model a real-world business environment in the sense that you have to learn how to work with people that have different experiences, that have different ways of working, managing, and leading. And so I think it's critical that you're in an environment that simulates a real-world, what real-world experiences you may have. And so one of the key takeaways is definitely the team-based nature of our program, wherein you're in a team-based MBA for the first 6 months, which is quite a long time, but that's, you know, developing communication skills, not just teamwork, but also leadership and management skills, which in my opinion, and what alumni say year over year is unattested. This is really what stands out as a fundamental skill that they're utilizing in their daily lives year over year. And so the last thing I would say is that the time that they spent in Kingston was really the best time of their lives. It is really a safe bubble to be in an MBA. A one-year MBA goes by very quickly, but the opportunities, resources, support that they get in that 1 year really does offer the best MBA experience that one can have. And I would say that, you know, that's something that's echoed and also attributed in the rankings. There's a reason why we've been ranked #1 for student satisfaction.
Sean, how about at York?
Yeah, absolutely. I would even say that, you know, some of our alumni are the best recruiters that we have for the program. They'll go out into the program for their 601, our capstone project, and some of the companies that they work with for that project, they'll come back to us and say, okay, well, now we're kind of interested in doing our MBA. We'll have you know, prospective students reach out to Schulich alumni through LinkedIn, through, you know, different social media, and, you know, our alumni are always happy to sit down with a new prospective student and tell them, you know, honestly what they think of the program. And, you know, most of the time that results in the student coming to us with an application. So we're really happy about the kind of impact and perspective and you know, the impact that we have on these graduate students. Following that, you know, I mentioned it before, but the 601 strategy field study, I think that is another key aspect of our curriculum. So that takes place in the, you know, the latter half of our program, with the first half being all the kind of core competency courses. And when the students go into this kind of self-led group project, they go out into the real world, they meet a real business and do a full kind of rundown, full analysis of you know, their challenges and opportunities. And, you know, they have that opportunity to really put all of that knowledge that they gained in their first 2 terms into action. And, you know, it can be a very challenging time for our students. And, you know, some of them, you know, still wake up in cold sweats in the middle of the night with that in mind. But, you know, they all say that it has been, you know, such a transformative experience for them. It really gave them an opportunity to show off what they had learned in their first 2 terms. So I think that's, you know, one of our key aspects as well. And then lastly, you know, there's just such a passionate faculty that we have behind all of our programs, all of our courses. And, you know, if you'd like, you know, we have masterclass events available as well to prospective students. So I would really encourage you to come by to one of those and check it out, because all of our professors, all of our teachers are extremely passionate about the fields that they're in. They're industry leaders as well. So I can't recommend that enough.
Great. And Corey, I wonder if, in fact, the fact that in Quebec it's French speaking, although obviously the program is in English, if that influences the program at McGill.
Sure, it actually contributes to the diversity in our program because our students are encouraged to learn more languages. Of course, when students come to our program, they may be bilingual or trilingual already with English and many other languages. When we refer to Des Hotels, we always welcome our students as saying, welcome to the Des Hotels family, because we really believe that it's important with such a small cohort that every person feels included and they feel supported. Along a similar vein, our staff is there to support our students. So whatever they need, they have a variety of different staff members they can turn to, whether it's recruitment staff, admission staff, the student advising staff. They have access to career coaches from the first day in the program. So they really do have a level of support from even before they physically step foot on campus. Beyond that, we're also very proud of the fact that our students have often told us that it's a life-changing opportunity. With their McGill diploma in hand, it does open doors for them that they may not have had access to in the past. It does give them a skill leveling up. And for a lot of people, especially international students, it gives them a way to come to Canada and create their new life. So whether they've started their family already, they're bringing their partner, or they're simply looking to start a new chapter in their life, we offer them that opportunity with our 1 and 2 year program, which entitles them to a lengthy post-graduation work permit. And oftentimes what we see is our students take that post-graduation work permit and end up staying in Canada and they start their life here. So for them, it's a life-changing experience, and we're so happy to be able to contribute to that aspect of their life so that they can start their families, so that they can grow personally and professionally as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to me too that we have a mix of 1 and 2 year programs here. As most people might know, in Europe, most of the MBA programs are 1 year programs. In the US, most of them are 2 year programs. Can each of you speak a little bit about the advantages or the disadvantages of 1 year versus 2 year? I mean, it's commonly thought, although often wrongly, that in a 2 year program, it's ideal for a career switcher because you have the opportunity to do that summer internship, which gets you grounded in a new field and may set you up for a full-time job opportunity in something that you haven't ever tried before going for your MBA. And in 1 year, obviously, the pace is very fast and quick. But can each of you talk a little bit about the 1-2 year thing and how that should be thought about in terms of an applicant's decision? Corey, let's stay with you.
Sure. So for the 1 year program, it's very convenient, as you mentioned, for those who are looking to stay in the same career path or who already have Canadian work experience or who may be looking to return to their home country. However, if you're looking to, for example, go from consulting to finance or any other career switch, or simply looking to gain a foot into an organization you may not have had the opportunity for, to gain Canadian work experience, we do highly recommend our 2 year program, which is not actually 2 years, it's 16 months. So you do have that convenience where you're able to do your classes, followed by a nice 4-month full-time internship that can then propel you into your career choices. We obviously recommend our 16-month program for international students because it does entitle them to a longer post-graduation work permit. So that's one difference for us.
Oh, okay. What's the difference in terms of the permit, the work permit?
Sure. If you do our 1 year program, you're entitled to a 1 year post-graduation work permit. If you do what we consider a 2 year program, so either 16 or 20 months, you're usually entitled to a 2 to 3 year post-graduation work permit, and which is great for our international students looking to gain permanent residency. More work experience you have in Canada, usually the better it is for your permanent residency application.
Great. And Sean, do you have a perspective on the 1 versus 2 year programs?
Well, Schulich only offers the 2 year program. So the first year of the program, you're going to be learning those core competencies. So there's not much flexibility in terms of what courses you're taking. We just want to build the foundational business knowledge you need to succeed in the latter half of the program. With the second half of the program, that's going to be the strategy field site where you really get to implement those tools that you've gathered from your first year. And then you also have the chance to diversify your degree with up to 2 different specializations, the ones I mentioned before with health industry management, you have arts, media, and entertainment. We do have a 1 year option available, but that is exclusively available to students who already have those core competencies down, maybe from a BBA or a BCom course, BCom undergraduate degree from an accredited university who has a similar overlap with Schulich's BBA program. But we are exclusively offering that the 2 year degree for us.
Right. And Teresa?
Yeah, so for the one-year program, obviously you get back into the workforce much quicker. There is a misconception that you need to have Canadian work experience to pursue a one-year program. We've seen, as I said earlier, 40% international students with no Canadian work experience, and we have a 95% employment rate year over year. So it's clearly really about the resources and support that you get in the program to help you transition into that next career goal, in my opinion. We have seen students that we see approximately 45% of our cohort year over year land jobs before they've completed the program, which is in December. And so if you secure employment within Canada, you can secure up to a 3-year work permit. So again, there is that sort of misconception that you can only acquire that 1-year work permit after you complete a 1-year program. It really is very dependent on the immigration officer and also on your employment status. So I do believe that, you know, candidates looking at Canada have more opportunity because Canada has relaxed immigration policies in comparison to other countries. And so that does allow candidates to consider Canada much more freely. And the 1-year option, in my opinion, you know, we follow a European model. We were the first in Canada to be a 1-year MBA program. And I believe it really comes down to the support and resources that a program offers. And there's a program for everyone. So do your research, do your due diligence, speak to alumni, faculty, current students, and staff to learn more about the differences.
And John Derek, if there's something to add to this.
Yeah, I think I'll go back and talk about how, John, you opened it up about the myth, right? So a myth about changing career paths, like if you want to make a change, you have to do a 2-year program. So I'd encourage people to look at data and employment reports when you know, and ask tough questions around it. So, you know, typically anywhere between 92 to 96% of our cohort will actually change careers. And so a 1-year program facilitates that. If you look at the placement rates and the salary data from Queen's and Ivy, who are 1-year programs, they tend to be higher than 2-year programs. So it's important that you look at the data. The other myth is around the postgraduate work permit. The postgraduate work permit is very different than a green card in the US that many people are familiar with. The postgraduate work permit is basically a bridge till you apply for permanent residency. And that's what it's designed for. It's not designed that people stay on the postgraduate work permit. It's designed as a bridge for you to apply for PR, and students want to apply for PR and graduates right away because that puts them on the pathway to citizenship. So there's a myth around the whole idea of the postgraduate work permit. And the only other thing I will say is that start looking at, you know, instead of looking at 1 year versus 2 year, as a candidate, start looking at the school that is a fit for you and what your career goals are. And one of the things we do at Ivy is all of our admissions interviews are actually done by our career management coaches. It's not done by admission staff. And the reason we do that is we want to they're the experts. They know what recruiters look at. They know what experience you're coming in with. And what we want to do is really dig deeper on what your goals are, what experience you're coming in. Will it match recruiter expectations? So we determine if a 1-year program is a fit for you. Because generally where candidates need a 2-year program, and the difference really is the internship. And where they may need the internship, if they need more experience to resonate with recruiters. And so, you know, don't make that decision up front. Work with the schools. We're here to help you make a decision whether a 1-year program or 2-year program is a better fit with you. So I think it's really comes down to, you know, what type of experience you're looking for. But also working with the schools to determine, is this school a fit with what my career goals are moving forward?
Mm-hmm. Good advice there. Could you talk a little bit about maybe some recent international graduates who came from other countries and stayed in Canada, and give us an example or two? John?
Yeah, I'll go first. You know, I'll talk about, you know, first of all, I will say that about 99% of our international students coming in Canada will actually settle in Canada, live and work here afterwards. And one of the reasons they choose Canada or choose an MBA program in Canada is they do want to stay and work afterwards. So, you know, I'll think about, you know, one of the ones that is most recently is Charmaine, who is from the Philippines. Worked with a pharmaceutical company, came here, had never left the Philippines in education-wise and everything else, and actually was recently married and came here with her husband. And Charmaine worked with a pharmaceutical company, and now she's working with Johnson & Johnson. So had a dream to kind of transition to a brand management role. And her husband actually just started law school at University of Toronto and have settled in. And, you know, one thing I'll add is there's lots of great stories of people that have done great things. And I'm going to share a personal sort of story around that. Is this past weekend, we had Canada Day this past weekend, you know, on July 1st, you know, the July 4th. And I was with some neighborhood friends, and they said, well, what do you do? And I said, you know, I explained. They said, well, what does that mean? And I said, well, in a weird way, I'm in a dream business. And, you know, and this is particularly relevant for international students that come here with a dream. And what's fantastic and what I love about my job is seeing those dreams come true. And as you keep in touch with students, and it's particularly around this weekend, and you see students and you keep in touch with them on social media and different platforms and see them get promoted, see them buy their first house. I saw individuals this week that became Canadian citizens, see them, you know, getting married and having children and settling in Canada. It's so satisfying to see that happen. And there's a lot of apprehension for international students when they first come. It's a big decision, and to leave your life and to come here and start a new one. But it truly is a, you know, you know, it's a dream come true for a lot of them. And that's what I love about my job, is having that impact on individuals.
I like the way you describe it. Teresa, can you share examples of recent international graduates in your program and who stayed in Canada?
Well, as JD mentioned, you know, 99% stay in Canada, and those reasons are primarily for the employment opportunities that they receive, and also what I hear is that they want that international perspective. Some go back to their home country after a few years, but most of them do secure that permanent residency. You only need to work in Canada for 1 full year before you can then apply for your permanent residency. So we do see many of our students go that route and stay and work in Canada. We have many students that think it's not possible to make a transition not having Canadian work experience. We had one candidate that was working in Madagascar for Schlumberger before coming to the Queen's MBA program, Smith MBA program, and he didn't know what was possible. You don't know what you don't know until you tap into those resources. He worked quite diligently with a career coach and was able to land at BCG in Calgary. And so making that pivot from very traditional sort of engineering role to management consulting is, you know, a success story that we see year over year in many of our students. And I think that those are, you know, that's just one small example. We have seen candidates that, you know, have had music careers go into private equity. We've seen a costume designer go into CPG role. So it's really quite transformative. You know, this experience. This is the beauty of an MBA, is that it can really take you anywhere and to any country, to any career. Most of our students choose to stay in Canada for the immigration policies, but also for, again, that return on investment, which is so key. Making that transition really does come down to the support and resources that the program provides. So again, you know, speaking to admissions staff, speaking to alumni, speaking to current students is really quite fundamental in making that choice in which MBA program to choose.
Great. Corey, do you have some examples you can share of recent international graduates?
Sure. So similar to my colleagues, we have about 90% of our international students who choose to stay in Canada. It's actually evenly split between Montreal and Toronto. So the way we look at this is simply coming to study at McGill doesn't mean that you're locked in Montreal. You have the flexibility of going anywhere throughout Canada. And what we see a lot of times is actually Canadians from other provinces. So for example, Jacqueline Mataluna, who was actually featured in Poet&quants 2021 Best and Brightest list for her contribution to food sustainability, was originally from British Columbia and now works in Montreal. If we're to look at our other international students, we see that they value the opportunity not only to study in Montreal, live here for a year, soak up all the knowledge, but then they use that as a trampoline to go where they want. So if they want to work in Toronto, they have that flexibility because of the recognition of McGill University as a leading institution with 300,000 alumni around the world. Chances are, whatever city you go to, you'll have someone connected to McGill. And we really try to value that for our students, that just because they come to study in Montreal doesn't mean you're stuck here forever. You have that flexibility of bringing that brand name with you wherever you go. And we always appreciate that. We have students who come here to start their families, and it happens every year, and we're happy to support them.
Great. I love that verb, trampoline. Just like I love JD's idea of him being really a dream merchant of some kind. Sean, do you have some examples?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, similar to Corey, we have such an internationally recognized degree that you can really, take off from Toronto and go anywhere you want with it. You can go back to, bring that degree back to your home country and apply it there, or you can stay in Toronto with the many opportunities available here in Canada or in Toronto. We're with you every step of the way. We're here to facilitate the process. We have an in-house regulated immigration consultant who can walk you through every step of the program, whether it's applying for a study permit or helping out with the postgraduate work permit. We have buddy programs to help kind of, facilitate your transition into life in Canada. English language peer support. We're with you every step of the way. We want to make it an easy transition for you. And similar to my colleagues, lots of the international students that we have coming here, they're looking to stay in Canada. They're looking to stay in Toronto. So, they might not know exactly what industry or what role they want to fill here, but, we'd like to think that in those 2 years of our program with the specializations, they're able to, meet some other people from, different industries, different roles, and find out what they really are passionate about. And there's definitely going to be an opportunity for you to pursue that passion here in Toronto. In terms of specific examples, one comes to mind, but you can, I would encourage you to check out our YouTube channel on Alumni Stories. But Gurkarat, he came to Calgary some years ago. He realized that, he didn't necessarily have the most competitive resume. So he decided to add an MBA program on top of that. He was a supply chain professional, but coming through the MBA program, he realized that, maybe property management is more something I'm passionate about. So he wound up getting a job at, he wound up doing an internship at Brookfield, and then later was employed part-time by them and moved on to full-time after he graduated. And he was promoted to strategy sourcing manager. And he's since been, featured on Supply Professional magazine, as well as winning some accolades and awards within his industry. So it's always nice to see someone transform throughout the program and really find their passion.
That's great. Well, hard to believe, but we are out of time. Now, there were a bunch of questions largely about scholarships and admission requirements like standardized tests. I want to assure everyone out there that we will take those questions up in our admissions panel, which starts in a little bit more than an hour. We'll feature all these great Canadian schools of the best in Canada that you should be considering if you want to go to Canada to get your MBA. Meantime, I want to thank JD, Teresa, Sean, and Corey for a terrific panel. You're all great, and we really appreciate your time and your perspectives. It's been a great session. Thank you.
Thanks so
much, John. Thank you.
Thanks, John.